A number of A-League soccer fans were kicked out and then banned from Combank Stadium in Parramatta after a brawl at the Sydney Derby.
Unruly behaviour will not be tolerated.
Creating a hole in the crowd of the Sydney Derby.
14 people were kicked out of the stadium after the scuffle, 6 of those banned for up to 12 months. One person was issued an infringement for offensive behaviour, all before the game had even finished.
Supporters claiming the melee, which involved police, started with an unauthorised banner.
And the RPB has gone AWOL.
It was during their mass exodus that the brawl broke out.
Oh, just hold on a second. That's a bit too intense. This is the Hyundai A-League Men's. The A-League is truly the love of my life. It is a league of beautiful goals, incredible moments, both for my team Perth Glory and for other teams around the league as well. And it's truly given me some of the greatest moments that I've truly ever experienced as a football fan. It's also a league known for its passionate fan bases, as well as supporter groups and active groups that truly add to the atmosphere of the games. And it's also known for a little thing called Peak A-League, but that's besides the point. Truth is, us Aussies love our sport, and especially our lovable A-League. Well, that's what we'd hope, considering that it's the most played sport in the nation, but we get no fans for it. There's actually a really good article on this from the Sydney Morning Herald yeah, you guys should go check out. It's a really good one. With that brief introduction out the way, I think there's only one question that we have left to answer today. What just happened? Hey guys, it's me again, Alex from the Backfoot Podcast, and as you may have noticed, a bit of a more serious video today, but it's definitely something that we need to discuss, a massive problem going on with our league at the moment, and yeah, I've not really seen anyone discussing it on YouTube, so I feel like it's my perfect time to step in. So yeah, with that intro out the way, let's get into the video. Now, any Australian football fan would tell you that the Sydney Derby is one of the most heated games that you can find in Australian football. One of the biggest derbies, normally two of the biggest teams in terms of financial power and in terms of fan base as well. The Sydney Derby is always heated. It is always a great game, slide tackles, great goals, massive fan attendances and atmosphere. It is truly one that you can never miss. So with the nation's eyes on the Sydney Derby on Saturday night, the 2nd of March 2024, all talk should have been about an incredible game, which it ended up being. It was a very good game. Two passionate supporter groups going at each other and just creating an intense, incredible atmosphere for all to enjoy. Instead, it was on something very different and something potentially damaging to the A-League as we know it. My intention with this video was to bring you guys sides from both of the perspectives, both of the police and of the active supporter groups, both at the Sydney Derby game and, as we'll later talk about it, the Brisbane Roar game that went down, the situation with the Den. Unfortunately, we've had no release for press statements from either Queensland Police or the New South Wales Police, and I'm not about to bring you guys a news article by Robbie Slater because I'm not going to damage your brain cells and ruin your absolute weeks having to listen to that absolute dross that he's talking about in the newspapers because he's a Sydney FC shill, and I'm not going to stand for it. So, yeah, without further ado, just know that a lot of this is alleged. We haven't had any sort of, I guess not conclusive, but any sort of damning court cases or lawsuits or anything filed that I know of. So I'm just going to bring you what I know, what I've seen, all the information that's been brought out, certain videos that have been brought out, certain opinions from people in the community, and I'll make sure to give you guys the names of those people and where you can find these opinions so you can make an opinion of your own. But with that being said, just know that all of this is alleged at the moment. Nothing's been confirmed, nothing's been settled in court or anything like that. So just keep that in mind when you're watching through the video. Now, I just want to take a quick moment to let you guys know that most of the information that is going to be presented to you in this video regarding the Sydney Derby incident is going to be from the video that was made over on RBTV. I'm going to leave a link down to the channel in the description. Please go subscribe to them and let them know they've done a great video. They do weekly videos on Western Sydney, their performances, but they're also the reason that we have a lot of this information. They've released it all. They've done incredible work behind the scenes to get this information, and a lot of the stuff that I'm going to be presenting to you is through them. So make sure you drop them a subscription, because I'm not going to show you everything they're saying. I'm just going to show you little snippets to be fair to them, and also I want you guys to go over and watch their video so you can get the full context of whatever's going on. But I will provide background information, but once again, go watch their video. It's absolutely incredible about all the stuff that's being presented here. So the first sort of point that we have to discuss is why the police in the first place were sort of going in on the Wanderers fans. Now, from what we've been told by RBTV, this was because of a banner. And this was also confirmed by the police in their statement to the 9 News that you might have seen in the intro to this video. This was over a banner that the police deemed as unauthorized. However, we do have evidence from RBTV, who are very trustworthy as a source, because they are very sort of close-knit with stadium security at CommBank Stadium, that this banner was actually approved not only by CommBank Stadium security prior to the match, but also Western Sydney Wanderers themselves as a club. Now, this is important information, because in order to get banners of any size into the stadium, they not only need to be approved by stadium security, they need to be approved by the club as well, and at times even the APL. So this is a damning piece of evidence as to the police being there for ulterior motives. And yeah, I'll just show you guys the clip really quickly now.
Who were allocated around the stadium after the display decide to obviously resume their normal activities on a game day game, right?
This was agreed by security first.
Security.
So the TIFO was approved.
Yep.
And it was agreed by with stadium security.
Yep.
That those boys around the stadium.
Yep.
Can return to the RBB.
What we know from that clip there is that the RBB not only had this banner approved by the stadium. By the way, this wasn't any small banner. This wasn't any sort of 5-6 meter banner. This banner was, I've heard reports of about 220 meters long. That is absolutely massive. And to sneak in a type of banner that big is just not possible. So it guarantees, and the RBTV boys can confirm this, it was stored in the stadium. And from what I've heard, this was likely to avoid the Sydney FC fans actually stealing it on the day, which would have been disastrous, because about a week worth of preparation would have gone into this thing. But in terms of that, it just confirms that this would have been previously agreed to by the club and by stadium security. And as we can see, there was a pre-placed agreement that after the banner was displayed, they were able to pack it up, and that the members of the RBB that were helping to spread the banner out and display it would then be allowed to return to the RBB to actually support the team in their actual active area. However, evidently, soon enough, as you guys know, this all went south. At the arrival of these RBB members back to the RBB, they were stopped by police, by stadium security, and not allowed back into their active bay, which then kicked off the whole incident. Now, 9 News and plenty of police people are saying that this was instigated, obviously, by the banner, and that the police had a right to step in. No, they didn't. That is a blatant lie, and we know that from the evidence that we've received. The banner was stored in the stadium, which means it would have had to be agreed on by the actual club and by stadium security. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to get the banner there in the first place. So the fact that police are saying that the banner was unauthorized is just complete bullshit. It makes absolutely no sense, because it wouldn't have been possible to get an unauthorized banner of that size into the stadium in the first place. So that's one lie there from the police that we at least know about. Another lie is that there was reasoning for the Wanderers fans that would have gone and sort of instigated with the police. We know from what RBTV have told us that the police instigated against the fans. When the fans tried to enter back into their active area, the police then attacked the fans and started arresting large numbers of Western Sydney Wanderers supporters. And I'll play that clip there just so you guys can hear it for yourself.
At the arrival of the entry to the active area, right, they were met with, mate, I've seen it with my own eyes, well over 50,
if not more, bro.
If not more, and I'm not even exaggerating, between 50 to 70 Riot Squad Raptors. They're not just your average cop. They are Riot Police. right? Specifically trained, specifically on the payroll of a riot police who is prepared for escalations of a riot, right? So these guys are the ones that come out to your protests, the ones that come out to if there's your Cronulla riots, right? If there's any, bikey incidences and stuff, these are the guys that go and handle them.
Riot Police. Fucking Riot Police. That is absolutely crazy for any circumstance. I mean, I wouldn't think of any football fans causing that kind of a threat in Australia, let alone most European countries that I know of. That's absolutely insane. And if that is true, that they're bringing that many police officers to try and sort of quell the tensions at a Sydney derby game, that's absolutely ridiculous. I don't even see that many fans at a Perth Glory game entirely, let alone surrounding one active area. That is a complete and utter just oversaturation of police. And I'll show you some photos now that I've been sent by some people in the community about the number of police officers that were there. It was absolutely insane and completely unnecessary for the occasion. So yeah, guys, here are the photos that I've been sent about all the police. And as you can see here, how many police officers are there? There were reports of 50 to 70, but these are different cops. These aren't the same ones from different angles. But anyways, let's get back to the RBB boys and let's listen to what they have to say.
Okay. So these members arrived at the bay, met with this task force, right, who refused them entry into what they do every week, and that is to support their team. Refused entry, and when they were met with backlash from our fans, from our members, they were pounced on, right? And I heard this from one of the officers myself, reporting to one of the superintendents there. His exact words were, "We just started grabbing anyone we could."
Now, obviously, this is just something that he overheard from one of the cops, but I think this is absolutely disgraceful if true. As you should. I mean, that's just a blatant admission from the officers that they're just simply grabbing anyone wearing a Wanderers kit. And when you're going to find out later, some of these people that they were taking into custody were just innocent kids. And I don't use kids as an exaggeration. Legitimate underaged people, minors, just teenagers under the age of 18, were being taken into custody for no reason, for simply being near the incident. That is absolutely crazy. But let's get back into the RBTV footage because I've got way too much of this to get through. It is just an hour's worth of just phenomenal brilliance from these lads. So let's get back into it and you can hear the next point.
In this was young teenagers, young kids, as young as 13, 14. I've got proof of that we'll bring up, maybe not yet Malta, okay? And they probably arrested between 20 to 30 of these members who wanted to return to their seats, as they do every week, and support their team. Once word of this got out, well, it didn't have to get out because everyone could hear what's going on. Everyone can see there was chaos outside the bay, right? And we've seen 20, 30 boys get arrested, get taken away. Yeah. The only decision that could have been made there to show solidarity to those members who busted their ass for a week to build that fucking tifo that every person in this country, every football fan in this country loved seeing on their screens, yeah? The only option that was left was to show solidarity and to leave with them as well.
I won't go onto the point of the young kids being arrested just yet because some evidence is provided later that is absolutely damning towards the police officers. So thank you so much to RBTV for all of this footage. We've got plenty more to cycle through. But yeah, lads, I just wanted to pause this to say just massive kudos to the rest of the RBB for walking out. I've had my arguments with the RBB before and people online about it, but one thing I can respect is their solidarity with each other, and the fact that they walked out was just top tier, absolutely top tier. So while I do think this was a good decision, I also think that this may have in some way played into the hands of the police, and you'll see why in a second. So I'll explain it when and after you hear the point from the RBTV, sorry, as to why I think this played into the hands of the police, but let's just get back into that.
Anyone who was left and that was wearing some sort of black or red or whatever in the active area was being targeted. When I say targeted, grabbed, forcefully grabbed without any discussion.
Now, as you can hear there, look, while I do think that it was a smart decision to walk out, it also put a big target on the backs of the fans that were trying to leave the stadium, just simply because the police were simply there waiting for them. They'd set a trap, whether it was intentional or not, but if they truly were trying to grab anyone they could get, they were walking straight through the police, and they set themselves up for failure, really. While they did suggest that there were 20 to 30 people that got arrested, there was a report that came out from Nine News, obviously, that it was 14 people that were apprehended, 6 were issued stadium bans for 12 months or more, and 2 had faced criminal charges. So whether that was just sort of a bit of misinformation being presented by the news or just a bit of a miscount from the RBTV boys, I can still think that we can trust their opinion on this. Now comes the most important part of the video, and what has really seriously got me pissed off over this whole ordeal, which is the targeting of young A-League fans.
I don't know. There were the young kids being pounced on. 6 guys on one little kid, on a teenager.
One of those kids.
Do you want me to show it, boss?
Let me explain that story. I'm a soccer coach. I do my coaching in the West at the moment, and I've pushed a lot of our young kids to go to the games, right? To go to something that they enjoy, not only to benefit our club, but to benefit the sport in Australia. A lot of the parents allow their kids that are at the age of 14 to 16 to 17 to attend these games because they know their coach, or a coach like me, will be there, and I'll do my best to look after them. So as I'm walking out to see what's happening, the same kids that I was coaching on Wednesday night, at the age of 17, as young as 14, had 6 coppers on them. Now at that time, obviously, I see red. But I'm old enough and I'm wise enough from my experiences with the police that showing any form of aggression will not help the situation. So I approached one of the officers. He said, mate, if you take another step past this line, we will be tackling you. So I said, listen, I just want to exit the stadium at this stage. He said, go around. So I went around, I exited the stadium. I seen one of the kids from our youth team there. He said they've taken away 3 of the boys that I know. Like, mind you, one's 15, one's 16, and one's 17.
All minors.
They're all crying. And they said they've taken them to a room on the other side of the stadium. I said, take me there. Malta, you were there as well. So I've walked to the room. I've knocked on the door. I said, I'm the legal guardian. A big officer opened the door, right? Undercover police who was wearing a white T-shirt. He had the New South Wales Police badge on here. He opened the door. I said, I'm the legal guardian of 2 or 3 of the boys who are underage that you're questioning in there. I want to be present. You know what he did to me? He palmed me to my chin, all right, gave me a palm to my chin and slammed the door shut.
I have never felt so disgusted, so ashamed, than I have for that police officer, I just feel truly just disgusted at the way he's treating a man who's, the legal guardian of these kids, and the way he's treating the kids as well, interrogating them in some sort of fucking room, on the other side of the stadium away from their legal guardian. And it's just truly disgusting. And we know these events took place because of a piece of evidence they're going to show you, but also we do know that there were undercover police officers at that game because there were undercover police at the Brisbane game the night after. So it makes perfect sense that there were undercover police at the Wanderers game. So, look, I don't want to speak too much on police matters or anything. I'm not anti-police, like I know a lot of people are. I'm not going to say, oh, these pigs, these terrible coppers, all cops are this, and I'm not anti-police, okay? I have plenty of family members that are in the police force, that work in the prisons, that work as actual, officers. So I'm not going to chat crap on police. But this is terrible policing. Absolutely horrendous policing. These kids were grabbed simply because they were wearing Wanderers apparel and going to a game. They were dragged away from their legal guardian. Then their legal guardian was denied the ability to actually see these kids and to speak to them after the ordeal. It is absolutely disgraceful. And this needs to be addressed by New South Wales Police, because I don't know genuinely how you can't address it at this point. Because this isn't some minor thing. This isn't a child being being told off for being too loud or having a lemonade stand when they're not supposed to. This is a kid being forcibly dragged to the other side of a football stadium by a police officer and then interrogated without access to their legal guardian. It is absolutely disgusting. I feel terrible for these kids. I'm going to get onto one more point, which is where they show the actual banning notices. I'm going to give my final thoughts on all the RBTV footage. I don't want to take too much, so I'm going to leave a link to their video. Absolutely go watch it. There's so much more that they cover that I encourage you guys to watch as well. But yeah, let's get onto the banning notices quickly.
So this is the banning notice of a 17-year-old kid who got jumped on by 6 officers.
See his date of birth there.
Yeah, we've blanked out everything. Just I want you to look at his date of birth. 17 years old.
I know where it is.
Yep.
It's in the top corner. There.
Top right corner.
I don't know.
Yep.
Probably looking around.
Can you what's the date of birth there, Malta?
11/9/2006.
11/9/2006 is his date of birth, making him 17 years old. He had 6 officers on him. I contacted him at 1 a.m. and he said I got assaulted by police for just being present around the scuffle that took place. And that matched up with what the officer was saying to one of the officers, or we just jumped on everyone.
Yeah.
Okay. This kid who had to go to school today is still traumatized by the events. Yeah. Would he ever go to another Wanderers game despite being banned for 12 months? Yeah.
Mate, I think there's bigger issues than that. How's he ever going to respect a authority figure ever again? He's going to be in fear every time somebody fucking talks to him.
He still does not understand what's taken place, how it escalated to where he was, to be thrown in a room with 20 to 30 police there questioning him. Okay? We move on to the next one. A 14-year-old kid, okay, who had his birthday the night before. You'll see it as well. Okay? I specifically trained with this kid for 2 hours on Wednesday night working on his finishing. All right, quiet kid, harmless, bro. Couldn't get a word out of him. Happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time, got pounced on by 3-4 of these riot squads.
Now, one final point that we have to discuss on this blatant mistreatment of the Wanderers fans is the fact that these kids, these underage kids, were issued banning notices. Now, the one that really does me in here is the fact that, as they explained there, a 15-year-old boy had 3 years added to his age so that they were able to issue him a 12-month banning notice and trial him as an adult for a banning notice when he just turned 15. And as you can see previously, I just put up his watercraft driving license said he was born on the 1st of March 2009. However, on the notice for the banning notice that was written by the police, his date of birth was issued as the 1st of March 2006, making him 18 instead of 15. That way they were able to hand out a 12-month banning notice. Now, the real victims of this whole situation are the kids. I feel so horrible knowing that these kids were, just given this kind of blatant and disgusting mistreatment by officers of the law. And the fact that there's been no statement from them, from the police that is, or anything is absolutely disgraceful, honestly. We need to find these cops, find out who they are. They need to be held accountable for this. Look, I'm not saying you have to fire these cops and give them, but whatever. There has to be some sort of training, some sort of sanctions, at least something. I mean, come on. Arresting innocent Wanderers fans because they were in the vicinity of a policing incident is stupid. Imagine you're driving down the road and you see a cop car pull someone over on the side of the road. Then hence you're pulled over because you drove past a cop pulling someone over. That's the equivalent of what's happening here. It's absolutely ridiculous, It's the equivalent of walking past a house fire and then getting arrested for arson. It's just like, what? You're in the wrong place at the wrong time, so now you're guilty? That's what's happened here. And it's happened to underage kids, a 15-year-old who was 14 2 nights before. It's absolutely disgraceful. Credit to RBTV for providing us with this footage. I'm not going to give you any more from them. I want you to go over and check their full video, as I have as well. It is absolutely incredible. Please go do yourself a service and check out their full video. It's disgraceful. There needs to be an investigation into this. At minimum, the Wanderers need to be removing the bans of these kids, as well as, I think, the bans of the adult fans as well, because it's been proven that these police can't be trusted. There needs to be an investigation into these actual officers by New South Wales Police. And, yeah, apart from that, there was a statement made by the Wanderers. We'll go into that now, and let's have a look at the statement. Now, the Wanderers statement reads, Western Sydney Wanderers FC are very concerned about an incident that occurred at last night's Sydney derby, resulting in hundreds of members and fans leaving CommBank Stadium in the 10th minute of the Isuzu Ute A-League match. In what should have been the club's biggest night of the season in front of a sellout crowd, an incident has triggered a mass walkout by the club's passionate active supporter group, that being the RBB. The safety of the Wanderers members and fans is of the utmost importance to the club. The Wanderers are currently working through numerous complaints and waiting to receive further information from several key stakeholders about the incident to determine the facts. The club is committed to doing a full review of the incident and will provide further updates in due course. Now, I just want to take this moment to say congratulations to the Western Sydney Wanderers for actually sticking by your active supporters and putting out a message of support. It really goes a long way to, making your fan base feel like they are sort of backed by the club. So I really respect that, which is more than I can say for our next club. But let's get into the incident with the Den. Now, unfortunately for the situation with the Den, we don't have any of the lengthened podcast clips or anything to take like we do with the situation with the RBB, with RBTV covering it. So, unfortunately for that, all we have to go off is videos released on Twitter. But we do have a good few videos to go through, all of which coming from a good friend of mine, Jacob. You guys would have seen him during the Unite Round vlogs, and I'll leave a link to his Twitter down in the description below as well, because I get the videos from him. But the first one we have to go through is the pre-March video. Jacob also was involved in a news article that we'll go through lastly to provide context. But the first one would have to be the video that we're going through, the pre-March video where several of the Den supporters, young Den supporters, were harassed and some of which even borderline assaulted by Queensland police officers. So let's get into that video just there.
Unruly behaviour will not be tolerated.
Because it's everything who don't get into it, push and shove to act like human beings appropriately.
Now, quite frankly, while a lot of people are pissed off about this, and understandably so, I like to celebrate sort of the hilarity of this moment, how the police officers screaming at them for being violent, for pushing people, and for not acting like human beings, while also walking up to a teenager who's not even facing him and pushing him in the back, while another cop shoves teenagers repeatedly to his side. Look, it's nothing that we haven't seen before. It's absolutely disgusting. The boys aren't doing anything. They're marching, they're singing their chants. The police officers look like they're there to just sort of, I don't even know, maybe just hurry them along or something like that. But from that, I don't understand it. You want them to be calm, you want them to not cause a ruckus, so your tactic is to shove them and to scream at them and tell them that their behaviour won't be tolerated. I don't understand it at all. I think it's quite frankly fucking stupid. But anyway, let's get into the next point, because already these Queensland police are starting to look like absolute tossers.
We're allowed to film.
That's my husband, left here. Yep, just over there. Liam.
You're a fucking thief. Get off me! I haven't done anything, you fucking... I can't breathe! I'm serious! I'm fucking serious! Let me out! Let me out!
Now, quite frankly, that clip there is scary as shit. The fact that, and what we know from what Jacob's at least told us, and also credit to Jacob for cracking on with the filming, even though those security guards are trying to get him to, leave the scene. Good that you've actually got that footage for us, Jacob. But that's just purely disgusting. There's no way in hell that you need 4 to 5 police officers to, pin down one guy. And on top of that, they were trying to choke him, and it's quite evident in the video. One of them is seen with 2 hands around his throat while he's screaming, "Stop trying to choke me," and towards the end of the video yelling, "I can't breathe, get off me." It's absolutely disgusting. It is vile. It is just pure and unadulterated poor policing. Like, I understand that they're trying to de-escalate the situation. How is that de-escalating? How are you de-escalating the situation by tackling a man to the ground, pinning him down with 3 or 4 officers, getting someone to hold his legs so he can't do anything to avoid you choking him on the ground? It is vile. It is disgusting. And there needs to be investigations with the Queensland Police, because this is honestly horrific. Absolutely abhorrent. The guy's wife tries to step in. There's another angle that got released. I couldn't find the video, but there's another angle where there's kids behind a fence telling them to get off the police officer. Like, people are genuinely scared about this guy being pinned on the floor and being choked out by a police officer. It's absolutely disgusting. It's disgraceful. It's abhorrent. And there needs to be an investigation into this. There absolutely has to be, because you can say what you want about, the guy swearing back at the police or whatever. It doesn't give the police the right to choke him out on the floor in front of his wife. That is disgusting. And if it's true what Jacob's saying in the news article coming up, then there absolutely needs to be an investigation, because it seemingly looks like the guy was tackled and was choked on the ground by the police for seemingly doing absolutely nothing. But we'll get into that news article there, so I'm just going to read it through to you guys. But you guys will definitely see that this is a potential massive investigation going on. I don't know if it's corruption. I don't know if it's just policemen doing bad policing or whatnot, or personal bias or whatever. But let's get into this article, because it says a lot. The article begins with Jacob telling the interviewer how the incident started. It started at the Hotel LA pre-game venue when plainclothes undercover police officers came in and started questioning a few of us on our age and what we were drinking. They then for some reason asked for our licenses and took down information. He then told me he hoped I wouldn't be getting into any mischief, to which I replied, "I don't do anything." To which the police officer replies, "That's what they all say." From that point on, Jacob realizes that the march heading into the stadium had a different vibe compared to the previous occasions. He then says, "We began our march an hour or so late. Never had I had any issue with a march before yesterday. However, the larger police presence made all the difference. In previous marches, we would sometimes stop in a spot and chant there for 30 seconds or so, but yesterday police were yelling at us and kept telling us to move on and shoved us." So the next part refers to the older guy outside the stadium getting choked. As for the older man outside the stadium, about 5 minutes before halftime, he starts having a go at the cop, the main guy seen in both videos, for how they are treating our fans. He then proceeds to start walking for the exit. As he's walking to the exit, the cop tells him to leave, which he replies, "I already am." The cop then follows him outside the stadium when the man tells the cop to leave him alone. That's when the police officer tackles him, and all the other cops and security join in. Heaps of concerned onlookers are filming and yelling at them to get off of him. Another interesting thing is, as far as I know, no one was detained for very long at all, which speaks for itself when you ask the question, did they actually do anything wrong? Now, it's not just Brisbane Roar fans that are annoyed by this incident. Plenty of people around the A-League community are rushing to say how absolutely disgusting it is that these Brisbane Roar fans, the Den, were blatantly harassed and attacked by these police officers on their way to the game, as you can see here on this clip from the A-League Off Air podcast.
The other thing is, though, if a group of 50 young men want to walk to a game of football together and mosh together as they're going and not harming anyone else and doing anything else, why can't they do that? They're not doing it. If they're jumping around and bashing into each other, no one else is there. What's the problem? I didn't see police jumping into mosh pits in front of Frenzell Rom when I was there, because that's out of control. If they're not hurting anyone else and that's what they want to do, then what's the problem? I don't understand this. This is the thing that if these guys aren't doing things that aren't hurting anyone and they're enjoying themselves, they're not hurting each other, they're just enjoying themselves and singing songs and that's where I get, and I think a lot of people get pissed off, is that what harm is this doing?
Now, Brisbane Roar did release a statement. However, that statement itself has been the cause of a little bit of a mini controversy going around the community right now. So we'll get into that article that the Brisbane Roar have written their statement, and we'll discuss why it is controversial, and then we'll look to wrap the video up there. But let's just get into this article from the Brisbane Roar really quick. The Brisbane Statement reads, "To our valued Brisbane Roar community, in the aftermath of the incidents outside Suncorp Stadium on Sunday evening, before and during our match against Melbourne Victory, I feel it is essential to communicate directly with you, our loyal fans. We have heard your concerns and frustrations loud and clear, and I want to assure you that we are taking decisive actions in response. Brisbane Roar Football Club stands unwaveringly with our fans. You are the heart and soul of our club, and your safety and enjoyment are our highest priorities. We are committed to upholding the rights and safety of our fans, and any form of misconduct, whether by individuals or authorities, will be addressed with the utmost seriousness. As we move forward, for your support, understanding and cooperation is invaluable. Together we will ensure that Brisbane Roar Football Club remains a symbol of unity, respect and passion in safe environment. Thank you for standing with us as we navigate this issue. Together we roar louder and stand stronger against any form of misconduct by individuals or authorities." Now, this is a powerful statement from the Brisbane Roar CEO, Kaz Patafta. That's a brilliant piece of work and really addressed all the concerns that were being mentioned by fans and everything like that, and did a great job of standing by the fans and really wanting to get to the bottom. There's just one problem though. This entire message was 100% ChatGPT generated. Now look, personally, I don't think it's too big of a deal that it was ChatGPT generated. I've spoken to a lot of Brisbane fans and they're sort of the same belief. Doesn't really matter. They're just glad that there's a strong, powerful statement out there. And to put out that statement, he has to stand by it as well. So it's good that it was out there. I just think it's a bit funny that in this time of really wanting a connection with the club, the fans have gotten a 100% ChatGPT generated response. So very funny, a little thing to chuckle about. I don't think it's a big deal. It was still a great statement. I'm very, very proud of Brisbane Roar CEO Kaz Patafta for putting that out. And yeah, hopefully that leads the charge for the fans to really get some justice here. And the APL really needs to act on this. But let's get into the APL statement just here, and we'll look to start wrapping it up there. The APL statement reads, creating a safe and enjoyable environment both inside and outside our venues for all fans, stakeholders and staff is our #1 priority. We are aware of incidents that have occurred at CommBank Stadium and Suncorp Stadium and are investigating these incidents as part of a full review with clubs, venues and police, along with feedbacks from fans. Honestly, it was to be expected. It was a bit of a nothing statement really from the APL. I've come to expect that in recent years, given their response to most stuff that happens in the league. So a bit disappointed really, but you can't really expect them to say too much too early. But where do we go from here? What should be the APL's response? What do I think will happen? Personally, what I think will happen, I think it will come down mostly to the clubs. I don't think the APL is going to be in too much of a rush to do anything. Nothing will happen to the police. There'll be no investigations. The Wanderers will reinstate those younger kids. Probably won't reinstate all of the older guys, especially the 2 that are facing charges. And in terms of Brisbane, they've already put out their notice, so I don't expect anything further to be done. I'm really disappointed in the APL in recent years. I really, really, really hope that they do act out here, because the potential for something to happen if they don't act out is massive. There's already been talk of league-wide walkouts. There's been talk of, potential protests, and there's whole social media movements going on now about it. No fans, no game. That whole movement on Twitter. So look, the APL need to react to this. They can't just push it to the side and, just call the fans out on it like they did with the whole moving the grand final to Sydney debacle. They need to act on this now, because it's a serious problem that is going to seriously affect the way the A-League moves forward. They can't sit back on this and just react to it. They need to be proactive. They need to go out and they need to release a statement, a proper statement, not a nothing statement, a proper statement. An investigation needs to be had. There needs to be some sort of way that they are going to redeem their relationship with the fans after this. So what do I think they should do? Who knows? I'm not in that position. I do know that they need to put out a statement. I do think that there should be some talks with Brisbane and Western Sydney Wanderers to finally get to the bottom of this, because there's enough evidence out there to say that it was relatively harmless from both sides, being Brisbane and Western Sydney Wanderers. And there needs to be some cooperation with the police here, because the Queensland Police and New South Wales Police have still not released a statement about either of these events, meaning that we really don't know the details from the police's side, which is a real shame. And it's potentially dangerous, this whole social media movement. We saw what happened with the whole Bucket Man incident last year when the grand final decision happened and there was no feedback from the APL. It riles up people, it builds up anger. So there needs to be a response. There needs to be something going on. Otherwise, stuff's going to happen. And that's not going to be on the fault of the fans. It's going to be on the fault of the APL. The APL will have blood on its hands if they do not act. So I really, really, really do hope that the APL put out a statement, because the implications are massive if they do not. With that being said, guys, I'd like to thank you all so much for watching this video here. Like I said, the links to Jacob and to RBTV will be in the description there. Also, make sure you follow our Twitch for any future streams that I do. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I appreciate you guys hopping along. Let me know in the comments what you think about the situation, what you would do if you were the APL and you had to respond to this. And just if you have any contradictory thoughts to mine, let me know in the comments. Love to be able to interact with you guys. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching the video. I'll catch you all later.